Tsongas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to return to the issue of the Endangered Species Act, which has been in effect for almost 50 years and, in fact, was passed when President Nixon was in office and signed into law by him. So strong bipartisan history. And it continues to receive very strong support across state and party lines. A recent poll found that 92% of the American people feel that decisions about wildlife protections should be made by scientists and not those of us elected to office. The same poll also found that 87% of the American people believe that it is a successful safety net for protecting wildlife, plants, and fish from extinction. And I can tell you that recently driving on a road along one of our major rivers, it was a thrill to see an eagle. It was the first time I'd ever seen one. And imagine were that not part of our landscape. And also to address the issue that that contend that it's been a failure because only 1% of the species under its protection have recovered and been delisted. The reality is that 90% of species are recovering at the rate specified by their federal recovery plan. So it is indeed working. But in your budget, you have proposed a $45 million upfront investment to avoid delisting of the sage grouse. And it seems to me that that is a very appropriate goal. So it allows states working with the federal government, local communities to put in place a management process. And again, would love to give you the opportunity just to talk about that approach as to when things are listed, and we all confront the limitations of that and occasionally rail against the implications. So give you a chance to comment.
Thank you very much, Congresswoman Tsongas. We have a $45 million increase in the BLM budget related to sage grouse management, a $4 million increase in the Fish and Wildlife Service. I believe those numbers are correct. And this is, as I mentioned to the Congressman from Nevada, very, very important because we manage so many of these lands directly. In addition, we have a secretarial order on rangeland fire, which prioritizes this really, in some cases, an old growth ecosystem. Some of these sagebrushes are 150 years old. You cannot regenerate them after they've been burned. And it helps us support local fire management districts, ranchers that want to be part of that first responder and need the kind of equipment and training to keep them safe. All of these things go into play to not just preserve habitat for the greater sage grouse, but also for the Western way of life. It's about mule deer and pronghorn antelope, 350 species that call these landscapes home, as well as grazing and traditional uses, and the things really that people visit a lot of the West to experience. So we do need money in the budget because we're a large land manager to do our jobs. In some cases, states are really stepping up, as has been referenced by the chairman. In some cases, private landowners are stepping up, and this is an all-hands-on-deck approach like has never happened before. But I think the future of how we can work together with states and private landowners to support the Endangered Species Act in a way that really addresses the landscapes that are so important to different parts of this country.
Thank you. Well, I think it's certainly very worthy of our support. And also, as we're debating your budget and the fact that it relieves the caps put in control by the Budget Control Act, just wanted to sort of reference what the impact of the Budget Control Act was in 2013. It mandated across-the-board spending cuts. We know, without respect for the success of certain programs, gives absolutely no discretion. We hear what a hardship it is in every department of the government. As a member of the Armed Services Committee, I certainly hear it over and over again. But according to the GAO, in 2013, sequestration led to a significant reduction in revenue for the Department of Interior because you didn't have adequate staff to devote to new oil and natural gas leases, and as a result, you had to postpone a number of sales as we talk about the challenges to that and your commitment to opening up areas. It also delayed royalty payments to a number of states for mineral activities conducted on federal lands within their borders. And I represent 2 national parks. As I spoke to the leaders of those parks and the wildlife refuges in my district, they told me the same thing. Sequestration was having a very serious impact on their operations. So it's no way for the federal government to do its business. We've heard that you're a net provider of revenue to the federal government, and I certainly would not like to see sequestration go in place come the end of this fiscal year. We have challenges across the federal budget. We need a comprehensive solution. I think the President's budget has proposed that.
You done too? You're done. Okay. Mr. Wester.